According to Harmer 2007, TBL or task-based learning is an approach that has roots in the communicative language teaching method, where the teaching process is done entirely through communicative tasks. In order to fully acquire language, it must have real meaning by being used in natural contexts. With task-based learning, teachers ask students to complete purposeful tasks that elicit the use of the target language. Assessment centers around the general outcome of the task, rather than meticulously picking apart each element of speech. In doing this, teachers celebrate the successful, appropriate completion of a task, which in turn boosts student confidence immensely. Additionally, the target language used should be a natural or naturalistic one. Therefore, authentic texts are used in order to ensure that the language used inside the classroom is connected with the language used outside the classroom. Noonan has summarized 7 principles which have to be followed in the frame of task-based language teaching. The first principle is scaffolding claims that the chosen lessons and materials have to ensure that learning can take place. Thus, the learners have to be provided the language they need in order to complete the task. Second, task dependency states that each task has to be connected with the one before, as the sequence has to tell a pedagogical story. The third principle corresponds to the student's recycling of language, by which language learning is optimally facilitated. By means of such a recycling, the learners can experience how the target language items function in closely related contexts and in completely different ones. The fourth principle, active learning, focuses on the premise learning by doing, as language learning is best guaranteed if the target language is actively used. The teacher should play a more passive role as far as possible. Fifth, task-based language teaching has to ensure that linguistic form, communicative function, and semantic meaning are integrated into the learning process. Thereby, the learners are able to recognize the relationship between function and form and meaning. The sixth principle, reproduction to creation, demands that creative language use develops from reproduction of language models. That means the students first reproduce the language provided by the teacher, a tape or a text, and as a next step, they are capable of using similar language items more creatively. As the last principle, Noonan mentions the reflective element, namely that learners should be given opportunities to reflect on what they have learned and how well they are doing. A typical TBL sequence starts with a pre-task, where students are introduced to the topic and told what the task will be. In the teaching grammar activity using this method, students will be given a pre-task about grammar that students will learn as an introduction. The teacher explains the material and reviews the pre-test. The teacher gives a task to reinforce students' understanding of the grammar they have learned, followed by a task cycle where the students plan the task, gathering language and information to do it. The role of the teacher in the task-based learning method in general is as a facilitator. It means that the teacher always maintains the main condition in learning. The role of the teacher can be seen in each component of the task given. In the cycle task, students are instructed to make several sentences using the simple present tense. The sentences that are written are arranged into one simple paragraph, which becomes a descriptive text. In the final language focus phase, students analyze the language they used for the task, making improvements and practicing a language that needs repair or development. Also, in the final stage, the role of the teacher is as a language guide because the teacher's job is to provide corrections and straighten misunderstandings that occur. Not only that, at this stage students will present or practice what they have done in the cycle task stage. As in the teaching grammar, students present sentences they have written using the simple present tense, and each student provides feedback and cross-check.
Because this for is